MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 20th day of April 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had an enjoyable, peaceful, restful weekend. Total lockdown yesterday, so we're all restricted to our homes, where we live, and we're sort of, I think people are getting accustomed to the routine now as well, settling into it, and it is by following the instructions of the government and our health professionals that we will get through these very challenging times. So I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful weekend and that you did your part to help to fight COVID-19 virus. For those of you who may be celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well. You may not get the opportunity to celebrate it the way you normally would, and I would give you two options. You can postpone this birthday, which means that you can take 1 year off your life and celebrate it next year. So if you were going to be 40 this year, you'll be 40 next year instead, because you won't celebrate this one. That would be one option for you. But as it may, we hope and we trust that you will find a way to quietly celebrate it in a safe manner as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, we know at any time the loss of a loved one can be stressful, but in these times it's even more stressful when the normal arrangements that are made for burial and saying goodbye to your loved ones has changed considerably as well. And again, we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Despite the fact that there may not be as much traffic on the roads of the Cayman Islands, you still have to be careful. We're seeing a couple of incidents of cyclists being knocked off their bikes, and I'll talk a little bit about that today as well. But you need to be extremely careful, out there also. One of the other things we want to talk about is insurance companies for motor vehicle insurance as well. Most of you are probably using your vehicles a third less time than you normally would. Is your insurance company giving you a break on your insurance as a result of that? Because the less time you spend on the road means the less exposure, the less probability of you having an accident. In these very challenging times where for many of us money is tight, what is your insurance company doing about that? So some of the questions that we'll ask this morning, since we will have no guests in the studio and we're going to have an open line all morning for you. I just want to caution you that when you call in, just bear in mind that there will be other persons waiting to call as well. So while I will try to give you as much time as possible to talk, you need to bear in mind that there are others waiting as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that time, our phone lines are always open. There's that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. There you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And then you can also follow us on YouTube. To do that, you simply subscribe to Radio Cayman live stream. So we know that the press briefings that are held in the Cayman Islands normally with His Excellency the Governor, Premier, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee, the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman, Dr. Samuel Williams, also the Medical Officer for Health, and Ms. Danielle Coleman, who's the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman, Minister of Health, the Honorable John Seymour as well. So the last press briefing that we had was on Friday. None on Saturday, none on Sunday. And what I would like to do at this point in time is, for the benefit of those who may have missed it, that just to go over some of the highlights of that press briefing as well. We know that many people follow it. It's carried live by Radio Cayman as well. And the reporters who are asking their questions, I think it's they're using Zoom, for that. They have upped their game, and we're seeing more and more useful questions being asked that help to provide additional information for you, the listening audience, as well. So on Friday, the highlights are there were 12 new tests that were returned, and they were all negative. All of the tests were negative. The flights from Miami arrived successfully. Flights to Nicaragua canceled due to the Nicaraguan government closing their borders and not allowing Cayman Airways flights. I want to talk about that as well. And if possible, it would be useful to hear from some of the Nicaraguan persons who were affected by that cancellation, get their views on what is happening there, what their views are in relation to their government's response to their pleas as well. We know that Nicaragua is not necessarily a democratic country with a large D. Whether or not it's a small d is questionable as well. Some people believe that they simply replace one dictator with the other. So some Nicaraguans may feel apprehensive about calling in or talking about their government, bearing in mind that they have family over there and they themselves, expect to return there at some point in time as well. But it would be useful to hear from them as well in terms of how this has affected them. And also another highlight was that the Christy Thompson Memorial Hospital, Doctors Hospital testing lab is approved by the Pan American Health Organization, that is PAHO, for testing as well. So, for the Cayman Islands, leaders noted with cautious optimism that while the COVID-19 coronavirus continues to exist in clusters within the community, the suppression measures put in place are working. The measures, notably social distancing, or some people call it physical distancing, and hand washing, will continue to protect the people if all strictly follow them and cooperate with all of the requirements that are in place. The reopening of the Cayman Islands economy will have to be done in phases, that was pointed out, to ensure that there are no adverse repercussions, since there is a new virus and the majority of the people here do not have immunity to it. This could result in a runaway spread of the disease in the community, triggering deaths if the reopening of the country and its economy are not carefully undertaken. And again, they pointed out that while the Miami flights were successful, that the Nicaraguan flight had been canceled due to the Nicaraguan authorities indicating that they had closed their borders one day before the flights were due to the flight was due to go to Nicaragua. Now, we also heard the governor in that press briefing said that even at the last minute, he was on the phone. I think it was with the foreign minister of Nicaragua, and he tried to no avail to convince them to allow the flight to come in. Now, I know that the governor has to put on his diplomatic hat when he's talking with foreign officials, and diplomacy plays a huge role in discussions, either bilateral or multilateral discussions. That diplomacy plays a huge role. Now, I'm not sure, the governor only told us that he was on the phone. He didn't really tell us exactly what he said to them. But if I were the governor, if I were, and this is my personal views, if I were the foreign minister of the Cayman Islands, my message to the foreign minister of Nicaragua would be, you have an obligation to the nationals of your country. We do understand that this is a serious virus. This is a killer virus. But at the same time, we see other countries trying to do what they can to help to repatriate their nationals. I can tell you that the Cayman Islands government is doing what we can to assist your nationals here. But if this situation gets worse, we cannot guarantee the complete safety of your nationals. So here are some of the options that I think that you may want to consider. We know the number of Nicaraguan nationals who are here. We know what their needs are. You send some money over so that it will help us to support them while they're here. That is one option for you. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult for us to guarantee the safety of your nationals, your nationals that you have a legal and a moral obligation to ensure that they're protected. Yes, while they're in the Cayman Islands government, under international law, has obligations as well to ensure the safety of your nationals, but we are limited in terms of our capacity to do that. If I were the governor, if I were the foreign minister of the Cayman Islands, that would be my approach. Sometimes you have to play hardball, even when it comes to diplomacy. We have a caller on hold, need to take a commercial break. When we return, we will take that call, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Under Commissioner Cardinal, road and building development continued to grow on the islands. For a number of building projects, Commissioner Cardinal turned to the shipwright and builder, Mr. Rael B. Bodden. Bodden had a unique style, mixing local and imported materials, combining native hardwoods and hand-molded concrete blocks made with Jamaican cement. During the 1920s, Bodden had built the Wooden Peace Memorial Town Hall and the concrete and wood Elmsley Memorial Church. Bodden would also be involved in the construction of the public library and post office, which opened in 1939. During World War II, Rael Bodden was commissioned by the U.S. Navy to build 2 162-ton minesweepers. These commissions and the needs of the U.S. Navy greatly assisted with replenishing the government revenues.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Saturday, March 7, made a difference to 601 persons who benefited from a free mini-medical including diabetes, blood pressure checks, and other conditions. Through your generosity and participation, Rotary Central Health Check 2020 made the difference to 7 persons, directing them to immediate medical attention and treatment. 240 persons were referred to their physicians for care and guidance. 93 persons were screened as new blood donors, new lifesavers. With your kind assistance, March 4 and March 5, Rotary Central hosted 20 healthcare professionals, physicians, nurses, and pharmacists from 8 countries, including the Cayman Islands. They completed Part 1 training to qualify as Caribbean Certified Diabetes Educators. The Rotary Central Health Check 2020 and the Rotary Diabetes Educators Program, doing our part, helping our community to stay healthy. Remember, keep your distance, keep safe, keep faith, stay home. Rotary Club Central. Together we shall overcome.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman.
Rumors and misinformation will not help us tackle the coronavirus. Remember, you can check on www.gov.ky/coronavirus to see trusted and up-to-date guidance from the experts. This page is being continually updated and should become your first port of call for the facts. Please do your part to avoid scare tactics and fake news. This government is not complacent. We will continue to prepare tirelessly, make the necessary decisions required in the best interests of the health and safety of our people. You may feel worried, scared, or stressed about the serious nature of COVID-19, but we can and will overcome this public threat. Again, remember to cover your cough and sneezes, wash your hands often, and avoid close contact with persons, especially if they're showing signs of respiratory illness. Please stay safe, and may God continue to bless the Cayman Islands.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm fine, or should I say what my granddaughter says? The stush man. Right now, she got. Everybody stush. Okay. Oh, see what I don't know how we can get it across to the commissioner, but I'm to the side of my parents' house that faces the gas station. I can see right out on Miramala Drive from there, because I mind the greenhouse too.
Okay.
So there comes the invader so much that we have the Hawaiis all day and all night. Do you know that people was on that beach?
When was that? Yesterday?
No, it wasn't yesterday. Saturday. Saturday, and I saw him, and I went and I asked them if they know that that they're not supposed to be there. That's what they told me. He said the commissioner didn't say that. He said it was a private beach, a public beach. I said, he said private beach. He just said, but nobody don't own this beach. I say nobody don't own it. You need to check lands and survey or look at all the homes that you see here, and they're all. That's the owners of the beach. They mightn't be here, but they're the owners of the beach.
Did you attempt to call the police? Or,
No, I never attempt to call the police. I said I was going to call the talk show and make the commissioner, when he's saying about beaches, include the Miramala Heights beach.
Well, I don't think that he has specified any. He's made that in a general sense. But I believe that I mean, while you may want to put it out on the talk show, the correct action there is to call the police and let the police intervene in that situation. Otherwise, if they're not listening to the talk show, or they're not listening to the press briefing, they're going to come back and do the same thing again.
Yeah, but I just want him to have it out there and make them check that a little bit more often, because you see that by that having that wall, they can actually, in some bush there, they can go in there and hide from the police. Not all the time that I go out there. Another thing now, I want to say something to you. I don't know what it was, but on Saturday, sitting in that same spot, see, that was the strangest thing I ever saw in my life. I heard Mello and Mickey, the taxman, outside talking, but I never really pay him no mind. And all of a sudden I noticed coming from like Georgetown way, the clouds around Centennial Towers and all that had turned black. And all of a sudden I heard like, it looked like it was raining, but it wasn't raining. And all of a sudden I heard a noise coming. And when I looked, it was like a black thing with a pile of wind coming, and it was going up towards Foster's. And all of a sudden I heard bajum. Well, it was so powerful that it broke out one of my sister's windows in her apartment, the door. And some people are saying that it landed around Foster's and it was like a tornado. I don't know if you can investigate that.
Yeah, I saw some videos circulating, on that as well. I saw some videos.
Well, so I wasn't wrong then. My eyes was right. Okay, another thing I want to say. Oh, see, I can't wear this thing over my nose and mouth. It can kill me. So my artist friend sent me some information, and I went in. Not our Dr. Lee. The Dr. Lee that helping us with the mask at the hospital. He said that there's going to be a mask shortage at the hospital in the state. So they come up with a lot of these techniques. I can do them, but the problem is some of it is the material. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But the one that Dr. Lee was showing, not our Dr. Lee now, let's get that straight, or to mix that up. He was showing, I got all of his information written down. After talking to you and I drink my coffee, I'm going to see if I can find some of that material. It's a plastic. People are asking me to make some for the children. That I do not know yet, but I will try it because somebody else showed me something. And they're saying that the plastic bottles, those 2 liter Pepsi and Coke bottles, that's what the doctors now in the States and nurses and stuff is making their own face mask, because they say if they do not make their own face mask for being in the front line, that when blood, spittle, and stuff come, they wouldn't be protected.
Mm-hmm. So this is different from the other type of fabric, the cloth fabric that is being used. You're talking about something plastic.
Yeah, it's like, the plastic bottle, and even it's called Duran something. It's a graph. And that is it's kind of like a hard plastic, and you cut it and you get it measured from one corner of your head to the other corner of your head.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm going to try today with that plastic bottle, because you got to experience before I sell or make.
Okay, you got to hurry because we have about 30 seconds left before we go to our news.
Sure that I do it right. I'm going to try it like how I would contact Carnival piece on a band.
Mm-hmm.
So since material is short, maybe I can work that way. I am willing to help people make the mask as soon as I can get the material.
Okay. Well, once you get it, let us. Once you get it,
I had to make one for you too, and one for John, one for the governor, and I got little rhinestones on them. They got on the glitter mask.
Sure, we can put it out there and let everybody see it, and be good.
Okay. And the brand makes one too, because that has a pad, but I don't like that.
Excellent. Okay, got to go now. You have a great day. Stay safe. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A cockfighting brawl is busted and several people arrested for multiple offenses, including breaching curfew during a global pandemic. More from Radio Cayman's April Cummings.
On Saturday, police conducted an operation near Fair Lawn Road in Georgetown in response to concerns about a public gathering taking place in violation of the soft curfew order. Members of the public had reported a gathering of several people engaging in cockfighting. 2 men were arrested, a 25 and 32-year-old, both from Georgetown, on suspicion of animal cruelty, illegal gambling, possession of ganja, and breach of curfew. Several other people on scene at the time the police arrived were also warned for intended prosecution for COVID-related offenses as well as animal cruelty offenses. Animal welfare and control officers from the Department of Agriculture assisted with the operation. More than 30 roosters were seized. The men will remain in police custody pending further investigation. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Just after 10 a.m. on Saturday, police and other emergency services were dispatched by the 911 Communication Center to Shamrock Road near Pedro Castle Road. It was reported that a motor vehicle collision involving a cyclist had taken place. A cyclist was heading towards Georgetown along Shamrock Road when a black Kia Optima that was exiting the gas station pulled onto the roadway and struck the cyclist. The ambulance attended and helped the cyclist, who had visible injuries. They were then transported to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries and later released. No other injuries were reported as a result of this incident. It is currently being investigated by police. In Friday's press briefing on COVID-19, Premier the Honorable Alda McLaughlin updated the public that the Needs Assessment Unit is now collaborating with the Department of Counseling and Rehabilitation.
The sole purpose will be to answer phones, follow up with clients, and provide feedback.
There are now 5 new members to contact the call center assigned to the public based on their prescribed letter day.
Those with last names A to K may call 936-0628, 936-1628, or 936-2628. For last names L to Z, they may call 936-3628 or 936-4628.
The original contact numbers are 946-0024 for Grand Cayman and 948-8758 for Cayman Brac. When you're out and about exercising, Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee says you will need to increase your distance from others.
If you are running and, breathing hard, and also if you're cycling, breathing hard, doing a lot of work, you will need to increase your safe distances. So instead of that 6 foot of social distancing for a runner in the straight line path that they're going in, you'd want to consider 15 feet from that runner, and similarly a cyclist up to 60 feet in that path to stay out of that zone if you're in their wake.
The standard social distancing regulations are set at 6 feet. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Millions of people in India can start working again from today, as new guidelines allow state governments to ease coronavirus restrictions. In some states, farmers and other agricultural workers are back in their jobs amid concerns about food shortages. Some labourers have also returned, but several states are not easing the lockdown at all. The daily number of deaths from the disease in Spain has fallen below 400 for the first time since the WHO's declaration of a global pandemic on March the 11th. It's the second daily decline in a row. Some small shops have reopened in Germany as it takes tentative steps towards relaxing restrictions. And some beaches have reopened in Sydney and Australia after a sharp fall in new COVID-19 infections. The airline Virgin Australia has appointed administrators, another business victim of the pandemic. It's been refused a government bailout and has debts of more than $3 billion. The price of US oil has plunged to its lowest level in more than 2 decades, with the virus causing a collapse in demand. The fall is in spite of a huge deal this month to cut world output and keep oil prices up. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Need to make an essential outing for personal care items or prescription refill? Make ValueMed Pharmacy your stop for essential products. Open daily under new curfew-restricted hours. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or in Boddentown. Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Boddentown location opens at 8:30 a.m. and on Sundays and holidays 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. A maximum of 3 customers allowed in store, and customers are encouraged to maintain social distancing while shopping. For faster prescription service, order online through value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Saturday, March 7, made a difference to 601 persons who benefited from a free mini-medical including diabetes, blood pressure checks, and other conditions. Through your generosity and participation, Rotary Central Health Check 2020 made the difference to 7 persons, directing them to immediate medical attention and treatment. 240 persons were referred to their physicians for care and guidance. 93 persons were screened as new blood donors, new lifesavers. With your kind assistance, March 4 and March 5, Rotary Central hosted 20 healthcare professionals, physicians, nurses, and pharmacists from 8 countries, including the Cayman Islands. They completed Part 1 training to qualify as Caribbean Certified Diabetes Educators. The Rotary Central Health Check 2020 and the Rotary Diabetes Educators Program, doing our part, helping our community to stay healthy. Remember, keep your distance, keep safe, keep faith, stay home. Rotary Club Central. Together we shall overcome.
Each weekday, Monday through Friday, Miracle Brokers is the proud sponsor of Radio Cayman's Bulletin Board. For all your moving needs, call the professionals at Miracle Brokers, 949-5989 or 916-0355. For a free estimate, they take the hassle out of moving. Miracle Brokers.
Now located at 140 Kingbird Drive in the North Sound.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tips. Advice for vulnerable people. Extra steps you can take to avoid COVID-19. If you have a chronic illness such as respiratory disease, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, hypertension, or cancer, or are elderly, over 60, or have a compromised immune system, you can further protect yourself with extra precautionary steps in addition to prevention tips. Remember, you are supported. Call the HSA helpline on 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077 if you have any questions. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking. Change your life. Emotions are an ever-present, pressing, and sometimes painful force in our lives. However, when we react to emotional triggers immediately, it can have unexpected and unwanted consequences. When you notice yourself becoming emotional, take a deep breath and bring yourself back to the moment. Continue to breathe deeply as you feel your muscles untense and your heart rate return to normal. As you become calmer, affirm to yourself that this is only temporary. You are safe.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. On Course Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong series was brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman, one radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. Barometric pressure 29.90 inches and rising. The wind is out of the southwest at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate light to moderate southeasterly winds and slight seas are expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for fair to partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the mid-70s. Your winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And for tomorrow, expect partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s tomorrow. Your winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. We're presently at a high tide, and the next low tide will occur this afternoon at 2:24, and a high tide again tonight at 8:44. Sunset 6:43. Sun will rise tomorrow morning at 4 minutes past 6, and the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday afternoon.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Looking towards North Sound Road, traffic flowing moderately. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive, also coming from the Westway four-way stop. And as we look towards Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, expect traffic flowing at a good pace. And in and out of Georgetown and Sheridan Road looking pretty good as traffic is flowing nicely, as well as on Edward Street. On the Westway Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And moderate flow of traffic on Crew Road, and light to moderate traffic flow coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. And as we look to the east on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic flowing moderately. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We're going to give you another outlook on traffic. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Digicel is all about giving customers more convenience, more peace of mind, and more flexibility. Do more with the new My Digicel app. Buy plans, pay your bill, track your credit, track your data, and monitor your account. It's easy to use and has everything you need in one place. It's time to simplify your life, so go ahead and see for yourself. Download the new My Digicel app today. More made simple.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman.
We are pressing for everyone to use their good conscience. Don't be selfish in respecting the suggested distance of 6 feet and the washing of hands constantly. Please check on your neighbors and especially our elderly. Also, persons who have chronic lung disease, diabetes, bronchitis, cancer, or asthma. Check on your family members and isolate them soonest as possible. I ask those persons who smoke until it's clear, please do not put anything in your lungs that are not natural. You may well be increasing your risks. This includes vaping. Self-isolation is very important for our country's ability to bounce back quickly to some normalcy. This disease is not prejudice.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have no guests in the studio and we have no guests lined up by a telephone link to interview this morning as well. So we're going to have an open line all morning. One of our listeners has written in and said, "Good morning. Can you please find out for me, does the government intend on contacting the employers of all these permit holders who are now getting needs NAU assistance? It would be very wise for the government to contact those relevant employers to cancel those work permits or be forced to take full responsibility for their employees. The government cannot afford to support all those people when the employers are sitting free and not trying to help free up the burdens they have placed on our government." This is a question that several individuals have been asking as well. And yes, I would agree that employers have a responsibility. And while at the earliest stage of the quarantine here in the Cayman Islands, in the onset of that, there was the ability for employers to repatriate their work permit holders to their country of origin. In some instances, that was not done. It is quite almost impossible for it to be done now, even though we do see the air link that was established between here and the United Kingdom, and I believe some work permit holders may have taken advantage of that opportunity. We saw the attempt made for Nicaragua. That was not successful. We saw flights to Miami on Friday, and I believe the flight to Canada is scheduled today as well. So when all of those those flights take place, it would be insightful for the government to take stock of the assistance. Now, we also have to bear in mind that the assistance that was given by government to work permit holders to help with the purchase of food was a one-time offer. Now, whether or not that will be extended is something else. I see where the opposition, the leader of the opposition and his group, they have issued a statement, and I will try to go over that to see what they have said there in relation to public assistance as well. But yes, the employers should be expected and should be made to play their part in this, especially if they are given the opportunity to participate in any government loans or grants that may be extended to small businesses to help them through these times, that they should be assisting their employees as well. So a legitimate observation, legitimate question that is being asked by this writer. We have a caller on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. And the family?
Everybody so far so good, you know?
Excellent, excellent. Yes. Good to hear.
I hope the same for yours.
Yes, thanks. Yes.
Yes, man. What I'm calling about this morning, OC, is the situation with the banks. Because they're, you know how it is with the restricted hours and the alternate days, creating some long lines in spite of all the, the division of alphabets and stuff. So I'm just wondering if maybe the banks may want to consider, since they're only open one branch, each of them, to extend the hours, And I think one of the issues they were talking about was, staff, exposure of staff. Because, they have extra staff now because of the closure of the other branches. Maybe they could themselves employ a shift thing, that some people work on certain days and some people work on other days, if they were to extend the hours, because they really need to do something. And in addition to that, it's bad enough that they're only open till 1 o'clock. There's one particular bank in Camana Bay, I won't call the name, but, you go there, and they have 4 cashier spaces, but they very, very rarely have more than 2 cashiers at any one time, which only exacerbates the situation. If they're going to be closed, if they're going to have limited hours, then at least put all hands on deck, But something has to be done. I mean, they have to either, consider opening another branch, which it looks like they not want to do. But the alternative is maybe they could extend the hours. They could even go to, say, to even 3 o'clock,
Yes, yeah.
or something. But anyway, it then maybe you can throw that out to the people, the powers that be, that I don't think they can force the bank to do anything, but they could probably, gently insist.
Sure, because what those financial institutions, caller, have to realize also that when we come back to some semblance of normalcy, that these are their customers that they're going to still rely on. Now, we would also hope that we know for a fact that in many instances what people are going to the banks for are not necessarily to deposit currency, but to withdraw it. And whether or not and I'm just putting this out as a question, not making any insinuations or anything, but we would hope and we would trust that they're not doing that to slow down the amount and the number of withdrawals that people are going to be making, because there could be a demand, a run on some of those financial institutions, and many of them rely on deposits, as part of their core business, as well. So, and we know also, caller, that when you go into a bank, the process is very slow, very tedious, unless you're using ATMs and stuff like that. It can be extremely slow. Now, on Friday, I went to a particular bank, and what they had there in terms of the personal distancing, everything was laid out. They had a security guard on the outside, a security guard on the inside, and it probably took me about 20 minutes because I had 2 or 3 different transactions to complete. So it can be extremely the process can be extremely slow. That's why you need that more time, really.
And you need more people on deck.
Yes.
And like you said, I've been in a bank already since this time, OC, and I've waited for 45 minutes and came and saw client conducting business and left with that client conducting business.
Yes.
So because, some people, because of the nature of the business, it will take much longer, So they have to bear that in mind, too. It's not a matter of, like, everybody just coming and going out in 5 or 10 minutes, What about the people that are going to take 20 minutes or more to do their business? Yep. And at the meantime, there are people then joining the line outside, So it's... And then I understand that at some banks at 12:30 now they're telling people, oh, well, we're closed now, no more people can't come in, and that kind of stuff. So it only making a bad situation worse. So, like I said, they have to, maybe they can look about extending their hours or, definitely doing something about hours of operation.
Exactly.
Yep. Between 9 to 1 is just, very short period of time to conduct my business. It is.
Yeah. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that.
Okay, we'll see.
And while we're on financial institutions, we know that the money transfer business in the Cayman Islands, they have not been allowed to open. And there's some people who speculate that one of the reasons for that, in addition to other reasons, the government has spoke about the fact that no clear plan has been laid out in terms of how they're going to handle it, the social distancing and things of that nature. We do know that some of these entities are already in locations where some sort of social distancing takes place, like in supermarkets. I have spoken to representatives of one of these money transfer entities, and they have said that they have laid out a plan to have security, to ensure the social distancing is adhered to as well, but they have been refused. Some speculate that it may be that the government does not want money leaving the jurisdiction, especially money being sent out by those persons who may then become a charge on the state later on in terms of the government having to provide financial assistance, for them. And there are ways around that. I see one jurisdiction where they're allowing money to be sent in, to be received by these money transfer companies, but not to be sent out. So that could be one approach that we could look at here in the Cayman Islands. The other one I see in the British Virgin Islands now, where they're proposing to add on an additional 7% on money that is sent out of the country. So 7 cents on every dollar the government will receive for money going out as well. Whether or not that is designed for two reasons, to get revenue for the government or to discourage money being sent out, not sure. But again, there's also a strong argument. Some people will argue that we need to have those services because we have family members who may be in other jurisdictions who are in a better financial position to support us here as well. If you read the Compass today, you will see that some of the people from Nicaragua who were passengers, the prospective passengers on that canceled flight to Nicaragua, talking about, in some instances, they have sold some of the things that they had to be able to get money to go on those flights and things of that nature, or they may have had persons send money to assist them to get out as well. So if we are going to be in this for a long period of time, some sort of reconsideration may have to be taken in relation to the money transfer companies as well. Time for us to take another commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick, with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Shelter in place. Stay home. Stay out of Johnny Public. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Open line because we have no guests in the studio and we have no persons lined up remotely as well to interview this morning. You may have earlier heard me a few shows ago talk about the fact that the Jamaican government was considering that any persons who were allowed in after their borders are closed, that they would have to be under quarantine for 14 days, and it would be at a location chosen by the government and run by the government, and they would have to pay for their upkeep, food, as well as their accommodation. And my boss shared with me something from Bermuda as well, where their premier, David Burt, also proposed charging $100 per day for anyone who had to be accommodated as well. And I'll just read it. It says, Mr. Burt said that anyone who returned to the island would have to pay $100 a night for food and accommodation while quarantined. This news came as Kim Wilson, the health minister, said no new COVID-19 cases had emerged after 20 more test results had come back, at that point in time. So the Bermudan government is also considering this. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you feel that it is fair for your government to force you to pay for your accommodation if you return under quarantine? We convict prisoners, we send them to prison. There are some countries who prisoners end up having to pay as well. Families have to bring them, supply them with food and everything else. Also, is it fair for that to be done? Maybe you have an opinion, a view on that. If you do, I'd like you to share it with us. We have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, my good friend.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Fine. How you been?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Good. I'm going to make my statement a little bit on the slow side, and I'm not going to say that much. But I want to hear your opinion once I'm finished.
Sure.
Everybody's talking, including the commissioner of police, the governor, the old people who say, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Stay home, stay home, stay home. Point taken. Is it not more prudent and more enlightening in a time like this to add something on to this thing instead of just saying stay home? Try to motivate people a little bit and say, you're staying home, are you going to find something to do, or what are you doing today? Don't just say stay home. I mean, I'm an outdoor person, of course, and I think it would be well received if they say, well, stay home, but what are you doing? Are you going to do something else? Give people some sort of initiative, some encouragement to get something doing. Once you get doing something, time flies, and you just don't sit there in your house. And it's not that you're trying to tell people what to do, understand me clear. But I'm saying once you get your mind occupied, once you're doing something, at the end of the day, you say, well, all right, this is what I accomplished today. This is what I done yesterday. It takes a lot of stress out of your system. And instead of, I can appreciate psychiatrists and all that, but the best psychiatrist is what we have now. Telling people you're going to stay home, so try to find something to do, some sort of a thing. Just don't say stay home. So that's what I want to say. I don't know. I'd like to hear what you think.
Okay. Before you go, there are some, and I've received some correspondence here as well on the show, not necessarily today, but other days, about hardware stores being open for a period of time, not the contractors, but there are some people who individually can do work around their house and little things that need repairs that they would love to do, but they don't have the tool, either the tools or the materials to be able to do it. So that is one argument that is being put forward. Open hardware stores for persons, not contractors, but to allow persons to be able to do that. I know many people would have to do their own yard work now and things of that nature. So certainly. And one of the other things, caller, is we have so many chat groups, WhatsApp and different things, different social media platforms now that people can use to assist each other as well.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing right now with around my place, I'm doing like gardening and planting vegetables and fruit and so on. Like you said, I could always use the idea of going to hardware stores, but if they don't have them open while I would like for it to happen, then I guess I'll find something else to do. I got some cassava I planted, and I hope it's not like the cassava that a guy said he got 2 cassava sticks from Honduras, and he planted them, and 3 days later he had a foundation, cement foundation poured for another house he was making, and he went and he see the foundation lifting up. And when he investigated, that was the root of cassava growing up underneath the foundation and breaking up the concrete. I don't know, but we can always make ourselves useful, There's lots to do, man. There's lots to do. So I just hope that add on a little bit onto something and get people motivated. Just don't tell them to stay home. I think that's a downer, really. While we need to stay home, yes, I agree, emphasize that stay home. But say something like, what are you doing today? Are you going to be doing something progressive into the place? If you can't go to the hardware store, well, there's something you can do, I'm sure, if you have a house or a garden or something. So I just thought they would take that on board, all right? Hello?
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Thank you very much. Good idea. Let's grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'm calling from Kimon.
Okay.
I'm wondering if something can be done about the price gouging and one of the largest supermarkets over here. 1 dozen Surefine eggs is for $7. I went to another store and I found 1.5 dozen large eggs for $5. Hello?
Yeah. Are these locally produced eggs or imported?
They're imported, sir.
Okay. And do you have any local production in the Brat?
A few, but it's not that much. Just about 2 people or so that do that.
Okay.
And one of the guys, he uses them for his own store.
Uh-huh. And the normal price, normally the price would be what for a dozen eggs?
The normal price, like for those eggs, would be like $2 and some cents.
Wow. That's one hell of a markup.
Yes, sir. And it's not just only the eggs. I see off-brand of cold medicine for $29 and some cents.
Wow.
Which is very, very outrageous.
Mm-hmm. Have you sought an explanation from the vendors as to why the prices are so high?
No, I haven't, because 99.5% of the workers are expatriates.
Uh-huh.
Even the very manager is an expatriate.
Okay. I think I'm trying to remember what was said in the press briefing in relation to that when someone spoke about price gouging, and I think the Premier pointed out that when you find, he did recognize and admit that prices have increased as a result of the demand that has been placed on there. But when there are blatant situations like this, that it should be reported. Now, to whom it should be reported is another question, and I'll try to see if I can find that out in terms of how do you go about reporting things of this nature. But I'm sure that somebody's listening in the BRAC, and someone will bring it to their attention as well. Thank you very much, caller, for that, and we'll continue to follow that up as well. Let's see if we can grab another call before we go to a commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Orrett. Good morning. If you're going to guess, I didn't hear. Sorry about that.
No guests. Just me and you now.
Oh, well, that's good. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far.
Go right ahead.
Calling the gentleman that called a while ago about people being at home, encourage us.
Mm-hmm.
I with you 100%. I think the hardware stores should be considered essential services because, like colleges, maybe.
Yeah, I'm hardly hearing you. I'm getting an echo from you.
Yeah, I'm on no speaker.
Okay, go ahead. Let's try now.
Yeah, and we I think that maybe they should make the essential services hardware. The hardware stores are essential services because there's a lot of things that are in hardware stores that that we can't get at the regular grocery stores. And I think it would be a great help if government would consider the hardware stores as an essential services because there's lots of things there that we could use in those hardware stores. Like fixing your DC vents or there's lots of things. So maybe I think government should consider at least even if you got to limit them, for the quantity days that they're using or whatever the situation may be.
Yes.
And I'm sure that they can arrange just like the banks, because I went to the bank on Friday. In fact, I went to the bank 2 days, Cayman National Bank, and it's only got one branch open in Cayman Bay. And it's they're talking about people gathering up, and people that distancing. Yeah, they got their markers there, but there's still a lot of people out there that are gathering. I went to the bank on Wednesday, and I waited there 1 hour and 15 minutes. When we got up to before we got halfway the line, which was 12:15 at that time, when the security came out, they told us that after 12:15 they were not taking no newcomers. Anybody that was, and they broke the line. About 4 people ahead of me was where they stopped the line. They said because they had a limited amount of people to get into the bank by 1 o'clock, and they were not taking no more. So we all had to go back in after waiting 1 hour and a half in line. I turned around. I went back on Friday because that's the alphabetical order for my date, for my time. So I went on Friday. I was there from 9:30 or shortly before 9:30, and I was there till 20 minutes to 1. And there were, as I said, there were hundreds of people gathered out there. So I don't know if the government, if anybody's listening, if they could appeal to the banks to at least open another Cayman National Bank branch, because if this coronavirus could be spread amongst people gathering together, that is a lot of gathering. I mean, they have to come from all directions to get to the bank, because there's only one branch open.
Yep.
So we call on the government to please see if they can do something about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. I have another WhatsApp message from someone, and while we're on the CNB one, I'll just read this before we go to our commercial break. And this one says, "Good morning. Cayman National Bank, now a foreign-owned bank, but with a Caymanian CEO, has a branch in Savannah countryside, but it is also closed. So the customers from East End, North Side, Bordentown, Savannah, Newlands, Sports, Red Bay, etc., all have to go all the way to Cayman Bay for banking services. Is there a good and sensible reason why CNB countryside cannot be open? Come on, CNB." Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, we have a few callers on hold. We will take those calls as soon as we return from this commercial break.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown, Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay home. Leave Granny alone. Darling child, I mean, we can't be visiting our old people because they're more compromised. We gotta keep them safe. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers. Before I go to the calls, let me just quickly respond. This has been shared again. To the person who suggested that rather than the government just simply telling you to stay home, make some suggestions in terms of, what should be done. And this is a collaboration between the CIG, Cayman Islands government, and GIS. One of the suggestions, backyard activities. There are so many fun ways to do something new and yet familiar for everyone who have miss out on their favorite activities. Also, another suggestion is fun and games, as well. And for those of you that you should have fun and games with your family, you can sit and watch TV, watch a movie, eat some popcorn as well. But try to get outside if you have a nice backyard. Try to get outside, spend some time out in the yard. You may want to teach the younger ones something about gardening and all of those activities. If you have fruit trees out there, look at the mangoes and or whatever, and let them know what the season is like. And also tell them that when the mango season comes in, we're going to turn our pots down. That's what the old people used to say. We're going to turn the pots down and we're going to eat mangoes. That'll take some of the stress off the, buying the food at the supermarkets as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm fine. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Thank God. Taking all of the positive over the negative. But, Mr. Connor, when you get a chance, if you can go online and look for a doctor's name, Dr. Rabi, I think, Butter or something, that name. I know that surname is correct. Buttar, Butter or something, and he's an American doctor, and he has a lot to say about this coronavirus with Bill Gates, because he is saying that they want to control people's life. They want to control.
A lot of people have a lot to say about it. A lot of people have a lot to say.
Well, but I'm not calling about that. But I'm just saying that we can take sense out of nonsense sometime, and just check him out there what he says. But I have a friend and a neighbor. And I agree with the two callers about the hardware stores being open, because I have a neighbor, and a kind of wealthy neighbor, and he said that, he had his fridge stocked to the max, and he said his fridge has been out from Thursday, I think, and he was telling me yesterday evening that he had to dump everything that he had in his fridge. He said because it was fixed already, he knows it can't be fixed again, or he doesn't want to try and get it fixed again, which I don't know if the appliance companies are out, but he said that he really wanted to buy a new fridge, and nowhere, is open for him to purchase that. So I agree 100%, because like the first caller said, and the second caller maybe, you have some stuff that you want to do at home, but you need some hardware things to do the work at home, and that'll take a lot off your mind, and you can catch up on repairing certain things in your house while we're in quarantine.
And caller, what would be the level of precaution that you would expect when you go out there to a shop, hardware store or whatever? What would be the level of precautionary measures that you would like to see in place to ensure that your health is protected?
Well, the same as the supermarket. You limit the amount of people that go in at a time.
Okay.
And is that? But I mean, now that is essential, a hardware store, because right now that man don't have a fridge.
But he still has a life.
Yeah, he got a life, but he don't have a fridge to keep his food in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. You know, and I mean, if the supermarkets can open for and keep it the way that it is in order, the hardware stores can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Even if you open the hardware stores 3 days of the week.
But caller, when you look and the social distancing in supermarkets, there's a big question mark around that as well. I hear people talk about the fact that they should have lanes one way only because people are stopping and conversing with others. So the personal distance isn't taking place as much as it should be in there. So it leaves much to be desired. But when you're talking about a refrigerator, you're talking about someone having to deliver it, put it inside of their house. The whole idea about social distancing that changes altogether. So, I would be cautious with, some of those things that we want to see open. And I believe after this 2-week period, depending on what the results are, that we will see some adjustments being made by the government in seeking to open up some of the businesses here in the Cayman Islands. It has to be phased. You have to be selective in terms of which ones you allow to open first. But there are conversations like these that we're having here on the talk shows that will help to inform the authorities in terms of what should be given priority as well. So we want to really thank you, very much for that. We have another caller, but we don't have enough time, so I can still give you another minute or so before we go to our headline news. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that the government is not doing a good job.
No, I'm not questioning that.
But what I'm saying is that, I mean, the person that had to throw away probably $300 worth of food. I mean, that is his food to eat, to keep him alive, and now he not got nothing. But I'm just saying, the hardware stores can be regulated just like the supermarkets.
I agree. Yeah.
The hardware stores is just as essential as the supermarket. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you very much, for that caller. Top of the hour, headline news. We have one caller. We're going to ask that caller to hang in there. As soon as we take this short break for headline news, we will take your call.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time. Praise time on Radio Cayman. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I'm gonna walk them golden stairs, 'cause I know my Jesus answers all my prayers. Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Praise time.
There's nothing to go back to. Give me Jesus in the morning. For the God of the mountain is still God in the valley.
Praise Time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The official opposition says it welcomes the opportunity to convene a meeting of the Legislative Assembly in order to implement proposed changes to the pensions law, along with other key pieces of legislation. These changes will allow individuals and businesses to benefit from a pension holiday, increasing disposable incomes at a time when essentials are becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. If approved, the changes will allow people employed in the private sector to withdraw funds from their pensions, providing them with much-needed financial relief. A gunman disguised as a policeman killed at least 16 people, including a female police officer, in what's believed to be Canada's worst mass shooting. The 12-hour rampage started late on Saturday and ended with a car chase. Police said the suspect shot people at different locations in Nova Scotia, many of them randomly. He was killed in a confrontation with police. And the 3 last cruise ships still sailing with passengers will dock today, and one has had quite the odyssey. The MSC Magnifica left Europe in January and was on the other corner of the world when the ports began to close. With nowhere to go, the Swiss-owned ship started the long journey home. Its passengers, used to a new port every few days, last felt land 6 weeks ago. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. The caller hung up. Hopefully that caller will call back. Meanwhile, one of our listeners has written in and said, "Good morning, Mr. OC, could you draw this matter to the government's attention, please?" Says, "My vehicle will be due for inspection. How do I go about it so as to get it licensed? Thanks. Best regards." Also, I also have a busted pipe and can't get any replacement fitting to purchase. Please, there has to be some solution. And I haven't gotten a chance yet to point out in the last press briefing what the Premier had to say, but hopefully I will have enough time to cover what the Premier had to say in the press briefing on Friday, because that will inform you of some of the things that they will be considering going forward as well. And as regards to the vehicle licensing, that amendment to the relevant legislation that governs vehicle licensing will take place in the Legislative Assembly. That's one of the things that will be covered when they go to the Legislative Assembly this week. Now, this Wednesday, it is proposed that 10 members of the Legislative Assembly will convene to I want to make sure I get this right now. They will convene to amend the standing orders. I think they will have to elect a deputy speaker for that purpose, to amend the standing orders that will allow the Legislative Assembly to meet otherwise than being physically present at the Legislative Assembly. And the licensing and inspection of vehicles is one of the things that will be covered there. So I just want to say that to that caller, that will take place there as well. One of the suggestions that one of our callers had in relation to what the government could say says, could you say this, the government could add this to their advice in terms of staying home. It says, stay home and find something positive to do. Well, some people are saying, we've been home. We've been finding things positive to do, but there's only so much, that you can find to do. Otherwise, you end up, having to repeat it over and over again. Those of you who are fortunate to have a garden or a backyard or a greenhouse or whatever, a good opportunity for you to spend some time with your plants, with your trees. Spend time. What I do is early in the morning, before the sun is up, I work on one side. I'm outside on one side. When the midday sun is up there, stay inside because that's really, really hot. When the sun goes to the west, then you can work on the other side, of the house as well, and spend a lot of time outside there with your plants as well. So let's see what at the press briefing on Friday, what the Premier had to say in relation to issues. First, he shared the point that the Cayman Islands is well on its way to suppressing the virus and is almost ready to ramp up wider testing. He also said that even when there is a phased reopening in the islands, testing will have to be diligently continued to monitor that there is no community spread of the disease. He also pointed out that children will remain a problem as the majority tend to be asymptomatic but can spread the disease rapidly. Hence, the thinking that schools will be one of the last institutions to reopen. He also pointed out that once wider testing is conducted, the restarting of individual construction projects as swiftly as possible is being discussed. So obviously, he's having discussions with the construction industry. He says this is a local industry which does not rely on bringing in tourists for it to function. It should not be too difficult to get construction projects moving again. This would be one way of reopening the economy safely. He also pointed out that providing statistics of help to the community from the Needs Assessment Unit, he outlined that since the 16th of April, 1,842 families, or 7,368 persons, had received assistance. Of those, 947 families, or 3,828 persons, have received food vouchers. And he presented a sidebar to show those figures as well. The Premier also thanked the Chamber of Commerce and others in the Resilience Cayman group who are assisting with helping the community with food vouchers and provision of 250 hot meals a day to those in need, which is to increase to 450 a day. He also thanked the Farm Box project by local farmers to meet local produce distribution until the farmers' market reopens. He also lauded the wellness program, which is helping frontline workers provide them with a 30-day supply of vitamin C as well. So on this particular one, he didn't talk about the Legislative Assembly. That may have been the one the day before as well. I'll try to ensure that I've given you the correct details in relation to the Assembly. But we do know that they will meet on Wednesday for the amendment of the standing orders, and then on Thursday to meet as well. Let's check our messages that we have received from our listeners to see what else we have in the pipeline here. One of our listeners has written in and said, say all of the banks have huge staffs. The majority can still work from home, but they could certainly open more than one branch and better serve the people, or at least extend the hours. I think it is a shame the way they are treating the residents of these islands. The shocking part is that they have all colluded to provide this low level of service. This does not, and this is the writer's opinion. The writer's opinion is that they believe that it is collusion, with the banks in terms of the level of service that they have provided, because they're basically all providing the same level. Says this does not affect me, as I am a senior citizen, but as I am allowed into a short line, I see a long line of people who could wait for hours, as did your caller, and never get in. I am ashamed of all of the Class A banks that do business with the public. Maybe some pressure can be put on them to extend hours or open another branch, preferably the latter. So that is the opinion of one of our listeners. And we have heard in those press briefings that the authorities have said that they have engaged the banks, that they would talk to them. Obviously, with all the shouting that has been going on, they must hear what people are saying, but it does not appear as if they're prepared to make any changes. I do know, I've heard, that one particular financial institution wanted to have 120 odd of their staff members considered exempt persons or essential persons to be able to work not from home, but at the physical location of the bank, and that was not allowed. Hope and trust that decision didn't have anything to do with it, but we hope and we trust that it is not the fear of money being withdrawn from these financial institutions. Like I said, they depend on deposits for much of their financial backing. And when people are not working, they don't have jobs, not many people are lined up there to put money in. Many are lined up there to get money out as well, and whether or not there's some apprehension. That's for the financial institutions to tell us why is it that they are not extending services to their customers when there is a clarion call for services to be extended because of the nature of transactions that take place in banks. They are time consuming, and between the hours of 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock is not sufficient. And it's really not even up until 1, because some people are saying that if they get there at 12:30, they're not allowed to be on the line to get in as well. They won't be able to get in. So again, we have to keep hammering it home to these financial institutions that they need to up their game, because those are the same customers that they will have to rely on when we return to some semblance of normalcy in the Cayman Islands. Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay at home. Stay home. No get about it. Stay your backside home. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Several WhatsApp messages have come in as well. I'll share them with you. This one says, good morning. Listening to the world news, crude oil has dropped to $11 per barrel. And here we are paying $4.39 per gallon for gasoline. Crying shame. This one has said, written and said, well, they sent me a picture of backyard farming. I have to take a closer look at that. And this person has written in and said, I support hardware stores being open. If you do not have a mask on, you cannot enter. 3 persons at a time. If a pipe broke, needs a lock repaired or part for a store, refrigerator parts, ID, a problem. Mask, gloves, and 3 persons at a time. This person says, I still want my premier to stick to his decisions. Keep Cayman locked down with people staying at home. No changes until the premier sees it's safe. They will blame him if anyone dies. And I think the premier in all of his statements has impressed upon us the value of the human life, and that value being over any other value that we may place on anything, be it property or otherwise, that the human life is the most valuable. Speaking of the phased reopening of businesses in the Cayman Islands, we know that there's going to be competing interest when it comes to reopening. If we set aside schools for a second and say that the school year as we know it is finished, we'll look and see what happens in September, then consideration has to be given as to how those children who are at home, how they're going to be accommodated, what provisions are going to be made for parents, of those children. Now, one could argue, well, in the summer, they're faced with the same situation. But sometimes in the summer, parents are able to plan their vacation time to at least coincide with some of the time that their child may be out of school. It may not be so convenient then. So we have to look at that. My point is that when the government is considering this phased reopening, that those who sit at the table to decide to make those decisions have to have the interest of all persons in the Cayman Islands at heart. You will have the Chamber of Commerce, you will have the construction industry, you will have other independent retailers, restaurants, whatever. One shouldn't try to dominate over the other in terms of which one should be allowed to open first. We saw this after Hurricane Ivan, for instance. There was pressure on the government, and I can speak authoritatively about that because I was involved in it, and there was considerable pressure on the government in terms of what part of the island should be opened up first, what industry. The bankers felt it's important for us. Financial institutions felt, we need to be open first to keep things going. Well, one of the first decisions that was made was to ensure that the Georgetown Hospital was reconnected, in terms of electricity and everything else, because the health of the people, health and welfare of the people of the Cayman Islands came first. And we saw an orderly return after Hurricane Ivan because everyone's interest was taken into consideration. The same thing has to happen now as well. We're going to see a further exodus of people from the Cayman Islands, work permit holders and others as well. An opportunity will arise for more Caymanians to be employed. We heard the Premier when he was asked a question by one of the news services, and the question had to do in relation to work permit holders, and he expressed his surprise that the questioner would be framing a question in relation to work permit holders and not necessarily Caymanians who are unemployed and need to be considered for employment as well. So if we take a lead from the Premier in terms of his approach to that question by that reporter, we know that the interest of Caymanians is going to be first and foremost in this, while taking into the interest of all of the persons who are residing in the Cayman Islands, that the interest of Caymanians will be first and foremost. So there has to be a major readjustment. And I would hope and I trust, and I believe that there's some indication of it also in the press briefings, that they have already established a committee to look into reopening some of the businesses and taking advice in terms of it. Of course, what will be paramount in all of that is the advice that is given by the medical experts in that regard as well. What else can I share with you this morning? The press release in relation to the needs assessment unit. We're hearing a lot of talk about the needs assessment unit. The Premier on Friday pointed out the additional assistance that was being done, provided by the NAU, and I will share this with you. The needs assessment unit reminds the public of its work, priorities, and procedures during the COVID-19 crisis as follows. Services to Caymanians remain a priority, with immediate focus placed on providing urgent food assistance. So the focus mainly is on providing urgent food assistance, because that people have to be able to survive. One of the necessary essentials for that is food. Other services such as rental assistance and utilities support continue to be reviewed and processed as secondary needs. So primary is food assistance, rental assistance, and utilities, they're secondary. Housing repairs are temporarily placed on hold. So no housing repairs at this point in time, and fortunate to a certain extent that we are not getting any rains yet, but we're coming up to the rainy season soon as well. So if we continue to be in this situation, then that priority may have to be moved up on the list as well. Services are available to existing clients without the need to visit the Needs Assessment Unit office. For clients' convenience and to reduce waiting times following an increase in those registering for the unit services, the Needs Assessment Unit has acquired 5 additional telephone lines and is introducing a revised processing system. So starting today, the 20th of April, the unit will be using the following 3-digit numbers and last name assignments. I want you to listen to this very carefully. Take note if you need. During office opening hours from Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., existing and prospective clients can call the NAU on the telephone numbers directly, and I will give them to you, using a system which assigns a group of numbers for calls based on the first letter of the surname. So that this is starting today for existing and prospective clients of the NAU, the Needs Assessment Unit. If your last name falls within the alphabet A through K, you can call 936 0 NAU, 936 1 NAU, and 936 2 NAU. I will repeat those. 936 0 NAU, 936 1 NAU, 936 2 NAU. That is if your last name falls between the alphabets of A and K. And that is for existing and prospective clients of the NAU. If your last name falls within the letters L to Z or Z, L to Z, you can call 936 3 NAU. So those are the new numbers, and you can also call 936 4 NAU. So last name L to Z, 936 3 NAU, 936 4 NAU. And additionally, the NAU wishes to reinforce the following advice. Existing clients and new applicants will continue being contacted with updates on service approvals. Clients who have changed their telephone numbers or have a new point of contact, example, residential or email address, must call the NAU so that staff can update their records as well. So if you made any changes, call so that your records can be updated. And new clients should visit www.nau.gov.ky for forms, and they can email nauinfo@gov.ky to submit documents or ask questions as well. Time for us to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
Hello, K-Man. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Social distancing. Well, that means you're to keep a distance of 3 to 6 feet away from the person next to you. Or in layman's term, if you can see the color of the eye next to you, you're too close. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record, sharing the emails as fast as they come in. This one reads, want to make sure I have all of the dates. Today's, yes. Says, good morning. The refusal of countries to allow their own to come home is unbelievable. These countries have their income boosted considerably by funds sent home every week from workers in Cayman. The people leaving did not only sell their possessions, they gave up their place to stay, and with no income. And with no income. Okay, I'm coming. They gave up their place to stay, and with no income is now at the mercy of friends and others in the community to take them in. It's an untenable situation. Mr. Andrew Holness boasted when he was here celebrating our mutual history of the boost funds received from Jamaicans working here is to his economy shame. So that is one person's view in relation to that. I promised you that I would find the information in relation to the meeting of the Legislative Assembly, and here it is. And this was the Premier at the press briefing on Thursday of last week. And he pointed out that the Governor, the Attorney General, it was pointed out that the Governor, Attorney General, Premier, Leader of the Opposition, and Cabinet have agreed to hold a meeting of the Legislative Assembly next week on Wednesday, the 22nd of April, to approve amendments to standing orders of the Legislative Assembly, which will allow them to then meet virtually. The Leader of the Opposition and Premier have agreed that government will only have 6 members in the chamber, and the opposition, including the 2 independent members, will have 4 present for that meeting to maintain necessary physical distancing. Now, the reason, and I'm just adding that, the reason, for that is that you needed a quorum of 10 in the Legislative Assembly. It goes on to say that a substantive meeting of the Legislative Assembly will then take place on Thursday, the 23rd of April, to consider the election of a new Deputy Speaker, changes to the pension law, traffic law, and immigration law. Pension changes will deal with a proposed 6-month pension contribution holiday, as well as changes to permit the withdrawal of pension account holders of some of their pension funds to assist in this crisis. The precise percentage are still being debated. Traffic law changes will allow Cabinet to exempt various categories of fees and functions. The purpose of this is to allow registration of to be renewed without vehicle inspection during this crisis period. The proposed amendments to the immigration law will allow Cabinet to exempt persons for a given period of time during the emergency to remain lawfully landed and to work, even if work permit applications have not been renewed or renewals have not been put in. So that has to do with the Legislative Assembly and the meetings, and I hope and I trust that that clarifies everything for you. We have a few callers, so we're going to ask each caller to bear in mind that there's someone else waiting behind you to speak as well. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Orrett Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay. Concerning the gas prices in Cayman, if the members of the Legislative Assembly refuse to personally deal with the situation the way that they need to in order for the gas prices to be fair here in this country, is the ERA allowed to go ahead and do what is right in order to bring down the gas prices on their own?
I don't think that they're allowed to. They have the authority to reduce the gas prices. No, they don't.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if members of the ERA board or members of the Legislative Assembly, do you know if they're allowed to have shares in the companies that sell gas to this country?
If they do, they would have to declare under the register of interest, they would have to make those declarations. As far as the members of the Legislative Assembly are concerned, I believe that it would be, this is only my personal opinion, that it would be a conflict of interest for any member of the regulatory authority that governs the fuel producers, suppliers in the Cayman Islands, that it would be a conflict of interest, for them.
Okay, so is it okay for members of the Legislative Assembly to have shares in these companies?
Yes, as long as it's on a register of interest, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Well, see, I called in to sort of, get back at these banking institutions in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
We are sort of rated amongst the best when it comes to banking in the whole world. With the laws in banking that we have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And this wasn't started just by one or two little people that come to buy out our places, This thing was started by professional lawyers and bankers. And I got to say that the experience that I had to deal with one of the biggest banks in the Cayman Islands at that time, which was Barclays, and one of the first international banks that ever hit the shores of the Cayman Islands. It was a lot of laws, and it is still a lot of laws in place in the Cayman Islands that a lot of other countries fail to even think about putting them there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the reason why they were put there is to protect the interests of the people, especially, and the clients, international clients, that is why there's so many people so anxious to come to the Cayman Islands to get involved into the banking system. But when you have people come here that buy out places in the Cayman Islands, namely banks, and bring their way of doing business in their country, which is not too nice compared to what the Cayman Islands have portrayed over the years, and decide to insult the people of the Cayman Islands by calling them like thieves or demonstrating that they're thieves or liars. That's not acceptable to the people in the Cayman Islands. And that's mainly what I was trying to get across to you and the people that you had, or the guys that you had in your office on
Friday.
On Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no intention of disclosing who it is. But I would assure you that by now, they have heard me on Friday or heard about me on Friday, that they owe me and my wife an apology. And until they do that, I will always think very, 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 or have second opinions on them as far as doing banking in the Cayman Islands, because what they did to us on Friday, especially my wife, let me tell you something. It is still eating me to the bone.
Was that on Grand Cayman or in Cayman Brac?
That was in Grand Cayman, my friend.
Okay.
In Grand Cayman. And also the Brac, too. I got to say, they played a part in it, too.
Okay.
So, like, when people just blaze onto their... It is so disgusting and unacceptable that I'm still ticked off about it, And that's kind of thing not supposed to go on in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried to get in touch with any of the executives of the institution directly to express your concern?
To go into their telephone system, you would have to have the patience of Job. Because they want to sell your chips this way and sell your chips that way. And maybe there's something. Nobody just say you want to go on any vacation. Not that I know of, not in my area anyway, or farm area. They don't want to go on no vacation. We don't have no time for to go on vacation now. So I don't know why if they even leave you an extension on to get somebody, it's the same old parameter that you got to go through. Then, let me tell you something. If I could have another choice, it wouldn't been them right now. It's really unacceptable, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you there's a resolution to your satisfaction to it once you're able to get in touch, with someone, because any business know that their customers are important, extremely important, and there's always a saying that the customer is always right.
Yeah, the customer's always right, but they need to take care of their customers.
Yeah.
And not just treat people like a pile of rubbish,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Also, thanks for talking to you, man.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, my friend.
And if you ever see Chris or hear from him, tell him I appreciate what he's trying to do, but nobody haven't called me from that establishment,
Okay.
Not that I was really looking forward to anybody calling me,
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take our last commercial break for the morning. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
We at the RCIPS, National Drug Council, and Radio Cayman are reminding you that a DUI conviction will cost you at minimum $1,000. You could lose your life, license, family, or friends. Collisions are more likely to take place when someone's judgment is impaired by alcohol. Stay safe, stay home, stay alive, Cayman.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Essential staff, police officers, immigration, customs, doctors, nurses, first responders, they are essential staff. So if you got to ask, then you ain't. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information: the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have any callers there, Ms. Susan? One caller? Let's go to the phone lines then. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucy. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine, sir. And yourself?
Good, man. I just wanted to say that, I hear when especially the young students and people come back from school and other people that are in quarantine when they get here, I don't know, they tell everyone to stay inside and don't be going out and all this kind of thing. But if you're in a place where you got a backyard or something and, you could let them out for 15, 20...
You're talking about those persons that are at home quarantine, as opposed to being in a government-run facility?
Yeah. That you can get outside and get some sunshine, because that vitamin D is one of the best things they say for this, to help with this coronavirus thing. And I don't think people realize that if they go out there, you can spend 15, 20 minutes out there and they get all kinds of that vitamin D stuff. So I hope that, they're able to do that, because if you're locked up inside the house all day, and especially if you got air conditioning, and I don't know if many people notice it, but years ago when we were growing up, we had clean air in this island, and people didn't have air conditioning. So the slightest little thing that if you got a little touch of something in your nose, you would sneeze. Nobody sneezes anymore, all because of the pollution from the cars, from the air conditioning, the ductwork in the air conditioning in the house and stuff like that. And people run that all day long, and they don't realize that in those ductwork, there's fungus and stuff inside us coming out, and people are breathing that thing.
Mm-hmm. It's recirculated air, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to think about these things, because I don't use air conditioning. I go to sleep with my window open next to my bed.
Well, what has to be done, caller, is you have to weigh the risks, and that has to be weighed as well. If it's a situation where you have a whole household that is quarantined, not allowed to leave their premises, I don't believe that it prevents them from being out in the yard because it's their whole household. As opposed to if they were living, let's say, in an apartment complex where there's a possibility of mixing, with other persons. But the risks have to be weighed.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's always that danger. But I think if people would be instructed how to do these things, they could go ahead and get some sunshine outside. And they say you can't go to the beaches and stuff like that. But I mean, if you got a backyard, you can go out there and stand up or walk around for a couple of minutes and get a lot of sunshine. I do it every morning.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's nothing to prevent you from doing that if it's one household and everybody's quarantined, in that household.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much for that. One of our listeners has written in and said, "Good morning. I have a slightly different question regarding the banks. Most businesses that are opened, like supermarkets, etc., are making their deposits via night depository drop. With all of today's technology, including debit cards, I believe most people are using the ATMs for withdrawals of cash. They are also using debit cards for purchases. So my question is, why do we have such long lines at the banks?" And I would venture to say that while the writer has said, and he has used the word, some people, there are some people who have debit cards. There are some people who don't have debit cards. There are some people who use ATM machines, some people who don't use ATM machines. And we know that the transactions at a teller, a physical teller, can be quite time consuming, and it can be even more consuming if you're at a financial institution that has a creaking computer system that is extremely slow as well. That can hinder speedy transactions also. So that is quite possible. Before we close again, I want to go back to this Nicaraguan situation and share with you the press release that was issued by the governor on Friday, the governor's office. And it goes that a statement from His Excellency the Governor, Cayman Airways flight to Managua, Nicaragua, canceled. It is with regret that the Nicaraguan government have this morning closed their borders and will not be accepting the return of their citizens. This is incredibly disappointing, given that we had close to 160 persons booked on Cayman Airways flights to Managua tomorrow. The Nicaraguan government will reconsider the opening of their borders once the global crisis has eased. There's no timeline for that. Those are my words. We don't have a timeline, for that. But people have already made
certain commitments here, giving up their apartments and everything else, maybe even sold their vehicles or whatever. They have made life-changing decisions, and now a monkey wrench has been thrown into those. That's my 5 cents there. Goes on, the press release goes on to say, I appreciate that many people who booked on those flights may now find themselves stuck on island without accommodation and the funds. If you are in need of urgent support, please contact the following. For work permit holders, you can call 244-8000 or email CIG COVID support@gov.ky. Goes on to say that the helpline is open 7 days a week. Applications for assistance are also available at all supermarkets and gas stations. For residents, you can call 946-0024 or email nauinfo@gov.ky. And it goes on to say also that Cayman Airways would be in touch with passengers who have booked flights regarding refunds as well. Now, again, we know that people in Nicaragua are living in a semi-totalitarian state. They replaced one dictator, Somoza, with another dictator, Ortega, and his family. Some people are saying it's not really Ortega that's running the country now, but his wife. What are your family members saying over there? What are they doing? Are they putting any pressure on the government of Nicaragua? In reading some of the news paper articles and stuff, it seems as if Costa Rica put a certain amount of pressure on Nicaragua as well in relation to the closing of their borders, and that may have been a reaction to that. But in the world of international politics and international relations, when you make a deal with someone, with a country, you don't go back on it that easily. I mean, look at our situation. We promised Barbados, we promised Bermuda that the test kits that we received, that we purchased, that we would share them with them. How do you think the Bermudan government or the Barbados government would feel if we were to renege on that commitment that we have made to them? The commitment that the Nicaraguan government made is a commitment to the safety and welfare of their people, not necessarily a commitment to the Cayman Islands government, but a commitment to their people, and they have broken that. Unfortunately, in a semi-totalitarian state, some people would say that normally in a democratic country, you will have your say at the polls. I'm not sure that the same will obtain in Nicaragua at some point in time as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or elsewhere. We urge you to do your part in fighting the coronavirus here in the Cayman Islands. By doing your part, it will help to accelerate the pace that we're making to get back to some semblance of normalcy in the Cayman Islands. Things will never be the same again after coronavirus. They will never be the same. But we can get back to the point where you feel that you can be sort of normal
again to a certain extent. That can only be done by you doing your part. We all need to do our part. And in doing so, remember, by protecting ourselves, we're protecting our neighbors, we're protecting our friends, we're protecting our families as well. Bear in mind that this afternoon we will have another press briefing again as well, and we hope and we trust that the news coming out in relation to the testing and the results of those testings will continue to show that we have this virus under control here in the Cayman Islands. And with good news coming day by day, it will be getting us much closer to getting back to some semblance of normalcy here in the Cayman Islands. Folks, have a great day, and may God continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's big